Should be good to go, Chairman.
Maureen, would you be able to do a roll call, please? Hopefully she can hear us.
With the mic.
No, I think she can. I think, unless she's on mute.
No, I'm right here.
Perfect. Sorry. Thank
Okay.
you.
Sure. Chairman Payne,
Present.
Commissioner Bashand,
Here.
Commissioner Bechter,
Here.
Commissioner Hutzwagner, Commissioner Karanian, Commissioner Conley,
Here.
Commissioner Dunning.
Here,
Perfect. Thank you, Sharon, for coming.
you're welcome.
So I'd like to seat Michael Connolly as well as Sharon Dunning for this evening. I don't need a, okay, right? Okay, perfect. Noreen, would you be able to say the first petition, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
Petition 00-23-02, 154 Pheasant Run, R12 zone, Newington, requesting a variance of 6 feet from section 4.5, table A of the zoning regulations to reduce the required 35-foot front yard setback to 29 to allow for the addition of a 21-foot by 8-foot covered front porch. Applicant contact owner David Gimler and Latoya McGregor Gimler.
Thank you, Noreen.
You're welcome.
Whoever that petition is, if you don't mind, if you'd like to come up and speak about it. If you would just be kindly and just state your name and address for the record.
How sensitive is this?
Great question. We'll find out once you.
We can move it.
Yeah, normally it's
Pretty good. It's pretty good, so just,
my name is David Gimler. 154 this month. This is my lovely wife, Latoya McGregor Gimler.
Hello, everyone. Hi.
And so I guess we're here to talk about the addition of the front porch. So really, I think the crux of the reasons why, kind of comes from the hardships, right? And so part of the problems that I have with the house, it's a southern facing house, right? So I get a lot of sun on the front, on the front door.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, in the winter time, all the snow that accumulates on the second floor gutter tends to create icicles and it, poses a potential hazard.
Yeah.
In addition to that, I do have some like water damage underneath the door itself. So I'm looking to eliminate a lot of those problems and potentially any slip and fall issues that we would have. So that's really the primary reason why we want a small variance.
And of course, there's the aesthetic, part of it and the ability to create additional family living space for our family. As residents of the town of Newington for almost 10 years, we enjoy the town. We enjoy our lovely neighbors, some of whom have come out tonight to support us as we try to advocate for this. And, we pay our taxes, our kids go to the school, and we just want to be able to enjoy the space that we are currently residing in, as well as making sure that it is safe as well for not just for our family, but anybody that walks up to our front step and could potentially leave a package and have a slip and fall. And even my own mom had a near slip and fall accident because of the icing from the front step, even though we do salt it. So it's really for us a safety concern, as well as just being able to enjoy the space and continue to live in the town that we enjoy living in.
Okay. Does anyone from the commission have any questions to the petitioner, as well as Sharon too, if you had any questions too?
I have a question.
Go for it.
So I wanted to understand how the addition of the porch prevents it seems to me that if you add a porch, you would still have the problems with the leakage because the water and the icicles would now transfer to the porch. That doesn't seem to answer the repairs that need to be done to fix the I don't know if it's like an ice damming situation and the icicles and all that kind of thing, so.
Yeah, I mean, it could be ice damming on, on the second story. So if you see in the picture in the second story, the gutters are right above the step, to the point where I don't have really anything in the garage long enough to knock down, icicles at that point. So if we're putting on a covered porch, the front of the porch is going to be to code maybe 6 or 7 feet off the ground, so I can clear that out much easier versus trying to get up to the second floor.
I guess I still see an ice damming issue. And then the other thing is with the porch, if you do cut into the setback, is that going to cause you to have to take away from I think you have a sidewalk or something there, that you go from the driveway to the front entrance of your home, it looks like from here?
So the plan is, at least on paper, and we haven't really gone too far, is are you talking about the blue stone walkway that we have?
I think
front
so.
of the
It's in
house?
front of those hedges.
Yeah, so we're not planning on really removing that.
Okay.
We're gonna end up having a doorway and stairs up into the porch.
Right, ending right where that second light is towards like the garage, literally would go up to that way. So there's gonna be little impact to the footprint of the walkway area. There it is.
So what are you saying again? I'm sorry, it's kind of hard to hear because you're kind of away from the mic, I think.
So I think-
So this is the sidewalk. So which side would
So it's on the other side that's got the
Okay.
lawn.
okay, the other side?
Thank you.
Thanks.
But we would have an entrance up to the porch using the existing sidewalk, or as much of it as we can. Because personally, I like the blue stone. I don't really want to.
Need some cleaning, but it's down. So we're trying to basically just build out the front porch, kind of like using the existing footprint in that walkway area towards the other side. That would come out slightly past the second light to the right of the house if you're standing in front of it.
Okay, thank you.
Next, Jen?
Yeah. So if we're looking at that picture here, this across the front of the house, if that measurement is correct here, it shows 8.5 feet to the edge of the walk. So then if we were looking this way or that way, we would be looking at the limit of the porch width as well, correct? The porch isn't going to extend further than that walkway.
Yeah, it wouldn't. It wouldn't, because right now you're looking at approximately 8.5 feet right to the front of, basically the front door to where.
So that
the
wall
comes
wouldn't
out.
be disturbed or anything?
No. We're trying not to do anything with the stonework.
And I had some other questions for Eric or our engineer, our new engineer. We met already in your office one time, but I forgot your name, I'm sorry.
Town planner,
Paul.
Paul Dixon.
Paul, yeah, thanks. So what is allowed encroachment into a front yard as far as stoops and overhangs? What's allowed now?
I believe it's 4 feet,
4 feet?
4 feet stoop, and you can have 24 square feet of encroachment. So basically a stoop, a 4x6
And then
stoop.
that could be covered
That could be covered, yes, as a
With a roof.
projection.
in post,
There's a projection allowance as well.
but approximately the same as the stoop, I would imagine. So we're looking at 2 extra feet there. If I did, I'm kind of a fan of front porches. I think I warned you guys about that before, so I'm kind of partial to front porches, but if I did ever approve it, it would have to come with the stipulation that it could never be enclosed, first of all, because then it starts to turn into a bedroom
Right.
after 20 years. So that would have to be very strictly claused in, and not even screening or anything. Would that strictly have to be basically a roof with a little bit of a railing there? And if it's 2 feet further than what's allowed now for a stoop, I know it's more square feet, but that's why I'm kind of lenient on this one. I have a little bit of a conflict with the other one possibly, but that's all.
Yeah, I don't think we were looking at, screens or windows or anything of that sort. It was just,
A covered porch,
porch,
yeah.
Covered open porch,
you
yeah.
know, rocking chair for the old lady.
I understand, but I'm just saying that could morph into a you know, a fully enclosed space at some point, you know?
I get it, yeah.
So I had a question. I'm just still trying to figure out what exactly the hardship is, especially like going after, like, in the regulations, section 8.1.3, because really, safety is not really technically a hardship. So I just want to know, you know, what really is the hardship for going the extended way and not maybe just doing maybe a covered porch over, or covered over the walkway, or at least the steps, you know, and that would cover your ice damage or ice issues.
Well, I mean,
You know, I
it's-
have a south-facing house as well, so I can't really, I don't have anything that covers it.
No, I
And
get it, I totally
you
get it.
know.
I think for us, one of the biggest thing is like, basically within the winter months, we don't use our front door, we can't use it. And I think for us that is a hardship, right? To have the ability to not have to walk out your front door if you needed to.
legally wise, no, not really technically, but yeah, that could be, yeah.
Yeah.
But
And again, we talk about the liability issue. Last thing I want is for, you know, a delivery person to be dropping off something at my front step and then, you know, he breaks or sprains an ankle and we end up getting sued. So for us, it is a hardship tied to a liability issue as well. And, you know, as you walk down our street, you know, 90% of the homes have a front porch area, you know, so this isn't something that is out of the realm of.
Yeah, it's not out of place.
Right.
no, I
the other
understand that.
properties, But for us, you know, the ice damming issue, the icicles being formed and the water drain issue, I think those are significant hardships and have the ability to impact the house structurally.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, go ahead,
Just
John.
Follow up on that point of arguing that's a hardship. I would say that the allowable roof that we just talked about would.
Actually be a,
That
no
would
problem.
solve the problem
Yes.
alone, so I don't think that's a real good argument. I'm just saying it could be corrected easily with what's already allowed, with just a stoop overhang, a
So
stoop
paint a
roof.
picture for me, Ken, like, what would that look like? Just like a roof?
Like a lot of people who have a stoop and have a little roof over it, a little entryway awning, or not really an awning, but
Are you talking about one of those aluminum things that?
No,
you
no.
would stick
I
up
mean,
on
I think
the-
you can make it
could
out
be
of
as simple as that, but they make them out of
wood
wood.
with a
yeah.
little roof.
And I guess you could even have columns to hold it up. I have a partial one, but it doesn't stick out much further than the.
I mean, you're basically talking about a dormer kind of walkout
Yeah.
That's
set
what it
up.
sounds like.
Yeah.
So I guess for us, what we're trying to understand is, so you're saying that essentially we can solve that problem by.
Just that one problem, that one
Right.
problem of the ice.
The dormer issue,
Yeah.
so you give us the allotment to create the 6 feet, whatever, to make that dormer, but not the ability to just push it out further to the left.
Well, that's allowed. That's what I'm saying. You wouldn't have to ask for permission for that.
3 feet.
Is there something that a house that you saw that's like that?
Okay, so it's a 3-foot projection into the front yard. Sorry for saying 4, and no more than 24 square feet.
So just bringing up the regulations.
And
So
it sounds
besides the
like.
stoop.
So basically a stoop, yes, it's,
Stoop with a roof the same size. But it sounds like they're a foot behind the 35 feet already, so they could do
So they
4
could-
feet theoretically.
correct.
Yeah.
They can have 3-foot projection into that
2 feet, so
setback,
You can do 5 feet then,
right,
So we can go out 5 feet
from the house.
from the house.
but not more than 24 square feet.
24 square feet from that you come out 2 feet and then you calculate the 24 square feet from within the setback.
Yeah, it'd be like 5 by 4 or 5 by 5 or something
Yeah.
like that. It'd be fully covered the doorway, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's perfect, I'm just saying that argument that you have would be
I understand.
fixed with that.
Did you guys, I guess within the packet and all that, did you get the letters of support from the neighbors and things like that?
No, we didn't see any letters.
I didn't see any letters of support.
We can just the neighborhood.
Yeah.
To just basically put
actually
it in
have
front of our neighbors and
Some of our
some of our
neighbors
neighbors'
here
backyard.
decided to come in.
I just think my major concern is if we grant it for you based on icicles and ice damming, then we could get a whole bunch of people
Self-facing
coming in
houses.
we're creating an open door for people to say that is a hardship. And then everybody would want the exact same thing that you're asking for the extra space. And at some point, we have to figure out if there's an actual hardship or not.
So if we're allowed.
I apologize, here are the
So-
letters of support. if you want to
I got
look
it.
at them.
Thank you.
If we're allowed 4 feet out from the door. So we're allowed 4 feet out from the door, has to be 24 squared.
And I think you have an extra foot, right?
Yeah, it's 3 feet of encroachment, so 3 feet past the 35-foot
So
line.
it's a total of 5. In your case. So then, I guess then, really then, it would be appealed and changed, because we have the 5 feet out to asking for 1 foot additional, and then the full width.
That's quite a bit of a difference.
It is.
Yeah, you have 37 feet to the front now. So you can work, you have 2 feet that you can put on the house with no issue. And then you can come out another 3.
Right, so we, at the minimum, we're trying to go out 6. I think we asked for 8,
Yeah.
but we're trying to go out 6, really. And then down the front of the house. So it's, I don't know, it's.
Do you have any questions, Bill?
I did
Not at the moment.
letter, but I'd like to see it.
Thank you.
Those are the letters.
These are what it looks like.
Yes.
Yeah, we just talked to the neighbors, just to.
Actually, do you mind me taking one of those, if you don't mind for a second? Sharon, can I read you the letter? Because you're not here, so you wouldn't be able to see these.
Sure.
Is it,
Yes,
is it okay if I read it? So at least you know what's going on.
yes.
There's about
I think there's 5.
5 letters of 5 different residents that reside on Pheasant Run, Newington, Connecticut, 06111. We are neighbors of the Gilmer, right, Gilmer? Gimler, so I'm very sorry. The Gimler family, who currently reside at 154 Pheasant Run. We are in support of the Gimler's desire to add a front porch onto their home. A modestly sized front porch will provide their family with greater living space while maintaining the current aesthetics of the homes located on Pheasant Run and eliminating a safety hazard. Collectively, as neighbors, we ask that you grant the Gimlers a variance needed. As taxpayers of the town, we ask that this commission and the town planner give this matter a strong consideration with an outcome that is favorable for the Gimlers. We demonstrate our support by signing this letter on the Gimlers' behalf. And the residents of about 5 homes,
I got 2 more letters that came in late, but
7 letters that came in of support of them.
thank you for reading that.
You're welcome. Yeah, she can't see it, so.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Do you have any other questions or anything right now, Sharon?
No, I kind of perused the neighborhood online just to see how other the front of homes looked. I really didn't see too many with any kind of porch or anything from what I could tell. So I don't know. And I wanted to ask Eric if in past on this particular neighborhood, have there been any other variances for this type of request that you can?
I did look through what I have and I did not see any variances for porches in this neighborhood, no.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sharon.
I guess, I mean, there's, you have a porch? We do, well, it's kind of a sitting area, but it's a porch.
Yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of houses around the neighborhood with porches.
Yeah, our neighbors to the left there, they have a porch area. Our neighbors to the left of the Dorkins have a porch area. So the people primarily that have signed this typically all have some sort of porch area onto their property. And we didn't ask every single neighbor, but just those within like immediate radius. Right, walking distance of us to see if they had any issues. And obviously, as you can see, none of them had any issues with what we were trying to do. And actually, for the most part, felt that it would, from an aesthetics perspective, just maintain the neighborhood and obviously generate more probably tax revenue for the town, since it's probably something that would be assessed in addition to what we currently pay. So we really hope that, you know, you give us the ability to do what it is that we're trying to get done. And, you You know, we're not looking to do anything too crazy, but really just to create a covered space that, you know, fits with the aesthetics of the current building structure and
Safe and functional.
safe and functional and just more family space. So I appreciate the consideration of this commission as well.
Thank you. Oh, go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, I was looking at the idea of the porch and all that, and I think it's a pretty good idea because it breaks off on top, hits the roof and down below, and it goes off into the grass. It's not gonna be in the walk area anywhere. And so I was just kind of thinking about what the regulation is you mentioned there before. It had to be a small roof over the door itself and a couple of columns.
That's what yes, that's what is allowed as of right now.
Would it be this way, or is it gonna go away from the front of the house?
That's a great question. I don't know. Maybe that's something John knows for informative, but I don't know exactly. whoever's doing the job would know.
I know what type of roof
Yeah.
style you wanted, I guess, gable or shed roof or
Whatever you think.
basically, I guess.
I think our neighbor had his hand raised back there.
We will have a public participation after both the petitions for anyone who would like to speak in favor or not, or anything like that. Any other questions or anything from the commission? John?
Yeah, another question for Eric or Paul. If they wanted to pour a concrete slab there, would that be allowed? Would they need a special, would that be considered an encroachment if they just wanted a patio in the front?
Yes, except, I mean, if it's gonna be considered an accessory structure if it's not attached to the house. So accessory
So a
structure.
concrete slab, like, so let's say a paver, a brick paver walk, or a big brick paver patio.
Time, you know,
Okay, so
if you
paver
pour,
patio.
if you pour a slab or a patio in front, you know, as you pointed
More
out,
permanent if it's concrete.
it's more, yeah, and as you point out, eventually it could become enclosed.
Yeah.
Not that.
No, I'm strictly talking about something on the ground, just something on the surface of the ground.
understand.
So like pavers is not.
Okay. And
Concrete
then what
is.
about a detached wood deck?
It's accessory structures, has to be
That would
behind the
still
house,
be considered an accessory structure. Okay.
behind the house, behind the primary structure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Noreen, do you mind reading the second petition, please?
No problem.
Thank you.
Petition 00-23-03, 107 Cambria Avenue, R12 zone, Newington, requesting a variance of 12 feet from section 4.5, table A of the zoning regulations to reduce the required 35-foot front yard setback to 23 feet to allow for the addition of a 27 by 6 foot covered front porch. Applicant contact owner Devendra Nepal.
Thank you, Noreen.
You're welcome.
If you don't mind, just by stating your name and address, please, for the record, I'd appreciate it.
And we live at 107 Cambria Avenue.
My name is Devendra Nepal, 107 Cambria Avenue.
If you could give us a little explanation.
We've lived in Newington for 4 years now. I'm a correction officer. She's a third grade teacher. Brought up our kids and in a beautiful neighborhood. The reason for is we have young kids and we're at work and my parents come to pick up the kids every so often and they just need somewhere to sit and wait for the bus because you have to be outside for the bus to leave from kindergarten, my kindergartner outside. And so we were just figuring somewhere, just a porch is with rails, you know what I mean? Just right outside in the front porch so where they can sit and wait for the kids as they come home from school.
Yeah, our bus stop is right in front of the house, and right now they don't really have anywhere to sit. His father is blind in one eye, and
One eye, and they're having medical issues. So it's really uncomfortable and wait for the kids. It's 6 feet, so it won't touch the pavers at all.
we have some mulch and plants and stuff. So the porch we're hoping will just take over that
Mulch
area. So it won't go past the walkway. It would just go right up to the walkway.
Eric, is the property line at the house?
No, this is a little bit of a different case.
Because
There-
if they have that overhang
Yep.
and where the steps, would that be their
So basically the end of the,
setback?
yep, where the end of the steps is, I'm just bringing up some stuff here real quick, sorry. There we go. So yes, the end of the steps is basically at the property line now. So,
Yeah.
so they have a little room for a little more room, I guess, if they wanted to do the dormer type projection as well. Trying to find their plot plan.
So I'm just trying to figure out how much more you want that you're looking for
So we're looking for,
after that, whatever, the overhang that you have right now.
yeah,
Right.
so it'll just go to the end of the steps.
Because if you have the overhang, wouldn't you be able to just
They
keep
could,
that?
they could keep that, hold that 4-foot line. They have 4 feet to work with.
Right,
They're, as they discussed with me, you know, a 4-foot wide porch is a little small for chairs and people and stuff like that. So they were asking for 6-foot wide porch.
yeah.
When we measure from the house, 4 feet doesn't go to the walkway. It goes, 2 feet before the walkway. It's smaller than it seems.
Yeah, we wouldn't go past.
We
the
would
end
just
of
go
the
straight
stoop,
down.
The stairs. Unfortunately, right
So
along
going
there.
past the stoop of the stairs is the extra 2 feet?
And that would only
If they
be
wouldn't be
steps.
touching the pavers?
Yeah, we wouldn't-
Correct, but they would be
Got it.
they would be encroaching.
Okay.
Yes.
Where is the excuse me, where is the 35-foot line there, Eric?
So in this case, when this house was built, it was a
35 feet.
25-foot line, correct?
Yeah, and that's
So they have 29 feet to the house, 29 feet and change. So that's where they have that additional 4 feet there.
The house, not the
I don't
house.
get how they have
the
additional
town.
4 feet. It seems like they'd have less feet.
Well, no,
Because it's a 25 and they have 29.
25.
So that zone is still 25.
No, it's 35 today,
Okay.
but if you read the memo that I went through, it's still, obviously it's still an encroachment, yes. Because basically, if you put the 35-foot line on there now, part of
be
the
part
house
of their
encroaches. But that's common for this neighborhood. You have houses that were built in 1910 up to the 70s. So you can go down this block and you can see houses closer to the road because they were built in the 30s and 20s.
Yeah, so like the one we did with now we have a 10-foot side yard, but when that house was built, it was only a 5-foot side yard. Okay. But we had to adopt the new side yard.
Well, that was for mechanicals. That was because the rule was 10 feet and we changed it to make it easier because when the 10-foot rule was put in place for the mechanicals back in the 60s or 70s.
No, this was for a second story to be built up within that 5-foot line there,
Oh, right. Yep.
So I guess I'm confused to where where are we calling the line now?
The line is,
The new line that we're debating.
so I'm gonna assume the line is the edge of that
Stoop?
dormer. Nope, the
Oh.
stoop would be what they're looking for. The edge of the
Is the
roofing,
upper.
right? The overhang
Right.
would be the exact, correct, of what they can extend to if
Correct.
they wanted to,
So they could stay right to there with no trouble at all.
with no trouble whatsoever.
Be a
and just
pretty
extend it
narrow
sideways.
porch, yeah.
Right.
No matter what, 2 feet difference isn't gonna be as much. It's only,
So then they're asking for a 2-foot variance, basically.
2 feet from the 25-foot setback line.
oh,
So we're still 12 feet from the 30.
Exactly. That's why I said in the memo, it's like 12 feet,
That's why it
yes.
says this one's a little bit
Yes.
different.
But again, like I said, the character of this neighborhood is different than other neighborhoods just because of its age.
Sharon, do you have any questions at all or anything for the applicant?
No, I'm still trying to understand it a little bit. It's not like they're grandfathered, right? You wouldn't say they're grandfathered because of the neighborhood. and the setback being now 35 feet?
No, because the house is built and existing. You know, if, we'll say if they had a porch that was damaged by fire or something and they wanted to replace it, yeah, that would be grandfathered in technically. But this
Oh.
is a new addition. It's, you know, your
Existing non-conforming, isn't that the term?
Okay,
Is that, just to consider too, when you're looking at it, the house itself, as you know, itself is actually within the newer setbacks. Again, as Eric had noted, 25 was the previous, it got changed to 35 and most houses were built out with that 25 in mind.
We don't have any paperwork, but we've spoken to all of our neighbors and everyone's for it. They see how we grew up with the girls and all of the neighborhood kids. Alan can tell you, Alan's our neighbor across the street. They all come to our house and they all play and hang out in our backyard and front yard, so.
I have to ask the same question because I did it for the first two, which it's the same exact, just want to know exactly what the hardship is, because we are based on solely hardships
Having,
and, you know,
yeah.
I just think a 4-foot porch wouldn't be safe when we have the furniture trying to be able to like maneuver around it. So we thought just the 2 extra feet you would have, you know, the furniture that comes out, I don't know how many feet, 3 feet, and then a little bit of space for people to move around.
And pretty much the hardship also is to have one of our elderly parents just sit out there and wait for the bus when the bus comes. Correct?
Yeah, there's no way for us to get home for the bus stop,
yeah.
so
So
that's
for-
the hard.
okay. Anyone from the commission have any more questions or anything? All right, is there anything else you want to add?
Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Now is the public participation. If you, sir, would like to speak, or if anyone else would like to speak, I just ask whomever if they could just please state their name and address for the record. In which application?
Yeah.
Please, thank you.
My name is Len Montanari. This is with regard to the first application. My wife and I live around the corner from the Gimlers down on Frederick Street. Prior to moving to Frederick Street, we lived at 33 Theodore Street, which is a 1909 Gambrel Colonial with a front porch. The charm of that porch was what drew us to the house. And in 1985, when we sold the house, we literally closed the deal on the front porch. The front porch aced the deal. And that family lived there for about 30 years. They loved it. Front porches make neighborhoods. I think we'd all agree. They make them more open, more friendly, and adds to the value of a neighborhood. Those who have front porches tend not to hibernate, but sit on their front porches, talk to people as people go by, become more friendly. I walk up and down Frederick Street periodically, and my walk down Frederick is a very pleasant part of that walk. A front porch on the Gimler's home would add to the value and the curb appeal of their home, and I would speak in favor of it.
Thank you very much.
All about aesthetics.
My name is Brendan Durkin. I live at 151 Pheasant Run. I'm here with my wife, Barbara, and we're here to support the petition by the Gimlers for their veranda-style front porch. Living at 151, we're directly across the street from the Gimlers, so we'll be looking at this every day, and we see it as nothing but a big improvement for them and for the neighborhood. I agree with Mr. Bashand when he said he's a supporter of porches, especially veranda-style porches. They're as American as apple pie. I was fortunate enough to grow up in a neighborhood that had many verandas, and those verandas were always used by people sitting on them. It contributes to a community in the neighborhood. And as I said, we'd be looking at it every day across the street from our house. We're very much in favor of it. I did hear somebody say that they saw no other porches on the street, but we have a front porch. It's built within the confines of our house. It's about 40 square feet, 8 by 5 maybe. There's another front porch, almost veranda style, down the street from us, 3 or 4 houses. I believe it's the Marcy family that lives on Pheasant Run. So I'd like to correct the record, whoever said that there are other porches in the neighborhood. But my wife and I can't wait to have the thing built and be able to sit on it ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for either of the petitions here, or if not, I don't know if there's anything online. Oh, yep, go ahead.
There's no one online.
Okay.
Good evening. Alan Paskowitz, 100 Cambria Avenue. I live diagonally from Devin and Paul's family since they moved in, and they keep their property impeccable. They've made some, minor improvements with fencing and things like that along the time prior to the last owner. I attest to their parents coming there more frequently than not because I live right across the street. And they're really family oriented, the whole family. There's always, family there and helping out with the kids and the bus and everything else. And I think that's part of a safety issue also, because to me, that's a hardship. Have to worry about your kids today and where they are and if they're going to come home or not. And somebody causing a problem on the street. We're all aware of that. So I find that's part of a hardship as well. So this is also an improvement to the neighborhood. It will build the equity in our market value of my home across the street as well, because it'll have that look and the use of it. And I go back many years. My house was built in 52, my parents' home. So it gives you a little historical value of me being there. When I was in youth, we used to go to my grandparents' house in New Britain and Hartford and sit on these types of porches, wave to the neighbors. Neighbors would come over and talk. We're losing that, almost lost it, because everybody's on the phone staring at it. They're not talking to people anymore. So I think that's got value as well. I don't want to call it a hardship, but I think it's an improvement to the community. Thank you.
Thank you. No one's still online?
There's no one online, Mr. Chairman.
So, we want to close a public participation. I just want to make sure if we are ready to vote on this today, that if we do, we will close it. If we're not ready, I'd say maybe we'd consider leaving it open, like we had that issue last meeting, that we closed it and we could have asked more questions that we had. Just before we were to close the public participation, if everyone is comfortable with voting this evening. Yeah, Sharon?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay. Okay. Does anyone want to make a motion?
To
To close public participation and
on
we.
both.
Public hearing.
Public hearing, yeah, on everything.
I'll make the motion that we close the public hearing.
Did you have a question?
I'll second
Or did
it.
you? Okay. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Aye.
Thank you, Sharon. So we're in the work session now. Any issues with the previous meetings, minutes? If not, then we can approve them. I think, did your name get changed properly in yours? Didn't you have an issue with the name?
Yeah, that was 2 meetings ago.
That was 2?
I wasn't
Okay.
here for the last one.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Chairman, if I may. I mean,
Yeah, go for
the
it.
minutes are their separate item after the work session.
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
It's all right.
Yeah, work session. My bad. Go for it, everyone.
I'll start if you'd like.
Go for it, John.
So I said I'm a big fan of porches. I grew up in a house with a porch. I think, to Mr. Paskowitz, concerns, yeah, we got away from them, but that was, that was planned. That was a choice that the builders made, so. I would like to see more. I'm gonna vote for these two, but I know it's a stretch because we are strictly based, as you point out regularly to us, that it has to be a hardship. So here's my stretch of the hardship. That, and I'm referring to number 3 here, that the special conditions and circumstances, which would be in number 1, do not result from the actions of the applicant. So yes, there was special circumstances and conditions that were created by the original builders who didn't anticipate building a porch. So it was their fault for not doing it. And so that's, I know it's a little bit of a stretch, but that's my reasoning for the special conditions and circumstances that the house was built in the,
In 1918.
yeah.
And
but-
that they gave, it was originally at 25.
Well, not even that
25
issue.
feet.
That issue is even more confusing. That'd be a whole nother exercise in zoning and things. But I'm just talking about in general but both of them, the condition is that the builder didn't anticipate building a porch in the future, and now these people are stuck with it. Whether that's a hardship to everybody or not, I realize it's a little bit of a stretch, so.
So you got your motions to approve both?
Well, I'm not making any motion at all. We're just in work session right now.
Got it.
I'm just expressing my
Your view.
feelings towards it. Yeah,
Yeah.
my intentions. Yeah.
Got it. And which one was that again?
That was
The-
for either one, really.
No, under A, is that what, that was
Well, I
for
think
number
he's saying
2?
8.1.3 in general.
1.3.
Uh,
The special conditions and circumstances.
Yeah, where it says
due to result-
the first one, that the special conditions and circumstances exist that are peculiar to the land. So, and then the third one is that the special conditions and circumstances did not, due to result from actions, it's supposed to be do not result from actions of the applicant, isn't that correct?
More than likely, yes.
That the special conditions and circumstances supposed to be do not result. No, that's right, that the conditions weren't created by the applicant. That's what it means.
I agree with you partially, but not fully, because I also think that's with everyone that wants a variance. No one expected to do that in the first, you know what I mean? Like put a shed up or put an addition on the
Well, in this
house.
case, it's a matter of
you
the
know?
position of the house now is related to that front yard offset.
Yeah, well, even the backyard, remember we did that one on off Main Street. They wanted the backyard, they wanted to put an addition in the back, and they wanted to go a little bit further,
Mhm.
But, okay.
That's all.
I have concerns. This is
Go ahead,
Sharon.
Sharon.
I have concerns, if we start to approve these types of variances, that this is something that maybe TPC should be looking at, because that means that people are changing the character of their homes. I love porches. I grew up on a porch and my grandparents had a porch. I understand that, but my concern is that, we have to be very careful about the path we're on in terms of the ZBA granting a lot of variances and then people coming to us to circumvent the TPZ.
You're correct, Sharon. I agree with you. Mike? Bill, anything you'd like to?
I mean, I honestly think they're both great ideas. However, like I said, you open the door for and make hardships for certain things, and then that's what people use down the road once you open the door and say, I'm not, like I said, I like the idea of it, but you say for ice schools or ice damming, and then somebody comes in with that down the road with a new issue and says, well, you gave it to so-and-so, you're opening that door to, that's my only opinion on it. I don't want to be, the dream crusher of it, because I think, I grew up on a porch myself across town, but I struggle with it.
Okay.
Mhm.
Anything, Bill?
Yeah, I can see the quandary in trying to figure this one out. With the regulations from the zoning board to fixing this with a hardship. I kind of like the ideas myself. I'm not sure, I gotta think about it.
Okay. Go ahead, John.
I guess we're kind of lumping them both together, or should we
I'd
be?
prefer to do them separately,
Yeah,
I think
would
is
that would
best,
probably be better, yeah.
to be honest with you, yes.
Discussion, I guess. could be-
Discussion
could
wise,
be lumped
we
together.
could, or, yeah. They're both really the same thing, but
Voting, of
voting
course.
wise
Yeah, oh, yeah,
should
of
be
course.
separate,
Yeah, I understand.
yes. Definitely.
I think they're so similar, even though one is that, that change of zone lot, but I think the issues are kind of the same, that we could discuss them together,
Yes,
which we've been doing.
I just don't see the full hardship. I would consider maybe possibly the peculiar land for the second one because of it was a 25-foot and now it's a 35 possibly, but I don't think it would be considered really peculiar. If like legally wise, peculiar meaning, because I remember many years ago, we had one on Connecticut Avenue. They have those big, long yards. And they wanted a front porch, I think. I don't know if you were here, Eric. It could have been
I
Mike.
remember one on Connecticut Avenue, yeah.
Yeah, and there was a railroad supposed to be going through there.
Trolley right away.
Yes, and that's why, that was the peculiarness of that.
I can see that one.
Anyone have anything else to add in
I
the
mean,
work?
all I can point out is, just the items in the memo. A lot of houses are built typically up to the front yard setback line, so people have a rear yard to work with. Obviously, like you pointed out, builders not thinking of future porch expansions or porches in general, and that just may have been, in the times of when some of these were built, right? The style was when nobody was doing front porches, and now they're coming back. So, the character of the neighborhoods, is a little different. You have a newer subdivision versus a much older one, and houses built at much different times in the Cambria Avenue area versus Pheasant Run. So.
Anything else in the work session or?
Eric just raised the question in my mind to the engineer. Is there any engineering reason why, I know we have setbacks for a reason, it's for uniformity and everything, but is there any engineering reason why a porch encroaching 2 feet over that line?
Just correct it, yeah, I'm town planner, so no problem.
So, yeah.
So we're basically, me and Eric are looking at the same thing, in these scenarios, you're not looking at an engineering one per se. An engineer would be more concerned about things along the lines of, okay, is it going to affect any city services? Is it closer? We're not talking about something that's right on a sidewalk and then you have snow plowing issues, you have, water line issues, you have something you wouldn't want to structure right immediately adjacent to the roadway because that could add complications and then you would want their input. I've had scenarios, again, I'm not saying this specific to that, where yes, an engineer, you want to talk to him about a fence, you want to talk to him about something when it encroaches, you want to know easements, what is there. This is all talked about something that's, 20 feet plus from that front yard line. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Eric is very familiar with these applications. He's been the one running through them.
So even if at some point in the future, if sidewalks were put in both those neighborhoods and they both had porches, it wouldn't affect the sidewalks. Other than the owners would have to remove the snow from the sidewalks, but they're not gonna be right up to the sidewalk. There would be room to put in sidewalks or other potential infrastructure.
So is that why they keep that setback at that spot?
And again, like I said, it's a uniformity kind of thing. Back in the day, on some of even the much older subdivisions, you'll see the setback line. You also see what they call the veranda line for porches, where they made an allowance on the really old subdivisions in the 20s and 30s. So you could put on that porch in the front because obviously it was more common then.
Just another technical question.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
On either of these, Eric, do you know offhand what the difference between the property line and the street line is? Because you mentioned sidewalk, so that would have to go in the right of way.
It would go in the right of way.
Yeah.
So
do we know how much either of these are?
Not off the top of my head without looking at it. I mean,
But some areas could be, everyone thinks there's this magical number that's the.
typically
Town property.
it's 12 to 15 feet from the curb line in to the right of way line.
I was gonna say 5 to 10 feet, but.
Again, depending, and this also depends on, is the road centered in the center of the 50-foot right of way? Sometimes they shift it over to one side. It happens.
Is it an old 40-foot right of way from an old, every road is different.
Unlimited,
The Cambria is, I believe, 50-foot right of way, and I believe it's 50-foot at Pheasant Run as well.
What are the roads, 25?
Usually they're about 28 feet of pavement, typically.
Okay, thank you.
Sharon, anything else before we close the work session?
No, thank you.
Bill, do you have anything? I know you wanted to think about it for a little bit. Is there anything before we?
I'm still trying to digest how the concern is with future occurrences based on what we do tonight. Because both ideas seem like a great idea to me. And this solutions they're presenting is definitely going to fix what the problem was to start with. And if you got a problem, is that not a hardship? And how does this all balance out, Yes, I'd be inclined to go for it. Is there any reason that we shouldn't?
Who are you asking?
Right, yeah.
Eric?
Eric would be a good one, yeah.
Obviously I'm not a voting member and I'm not supposed to attempt to sway in either way. As I say in my staff report, we don't have an issue with it. If you were to approve it, we wouldn't have an issue if you denied it. I mean, it's each application that you review is that application. If you were to approve both of these tonight,
Doesn't mean the next one could.
doesn't mean you have to approve the next one. Or the two after. It's, it is the zoning board of appeals and this is what they look at. And, looking through the guidelines, you have some things that you can look at and address. And if you feel that either way, I mean, have there been ZBA applications approved without somebody might not think is a hardship? Yes, it happens.
Yeah.
Some towns and boards are tougher than others.
It seems that the roof line for Pheasant Run definitely covers the ice problem. And the one on Cambria there does a good job on what they need to do. And I like them.
Okay.
Yeah. That's it, I guess.
Okay. All right. Think we can close the work session? Okay.
You guys are good with it.
Yeah. John, you're good?
Yep.
You're good, Bill?
Yep.
Michael? Sharon, you're okay with that?
I think so.
I would just add one more thing.
Nope.
It's about what Eric said, if you don't mind,
No, not at all.
about how they don't have an issue one way or the other. That makes it a little bit harder for us, but then we have our own opinions and then it comes down to that interpretation of hardship. And I know, everyone's gonna be a little bit different, so.
Yeah. Well,
Okay. Sharon, is there anything else you want to add?
No,
Okay. Let's go on to the minutes of the previous meeting. I read them. I didn't see an issue. If no one else did, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the May 4th of 2023 meeting.
I'll second them.
Sharon second, all in favor?
all right.
Aye.
Communications and reports.
I don't really have anything. I'd like to introduce you to the new town planner, Paul Dixon. Town planner / engineer.
Yep. No PE behind my name, so, haven't gone through that rigmarole, but, I've actually, met you before. I haven't met all of you yet, so it's a pleasure to meet you. I did my introduction to the council where I did the larger introduction to the town at large, but previously I was in the city of Meriden, where I actually was their zoning officer for a significant amount of years, and then went to their, eventually progressed to their director of development enforcement. Prior to that, I worked actually enforcement with the town of Groton and their planning department as well for wetlands and zoning and everything. So I am familiar with zoning and enforcement and the ZBA as well. So it's a pleasure to meet you, and I'm glad to be here to help you with whatever we can going forward.
Any new business? All right. So we're gonna vote separately. So I'll have Noreen,
New business is your application, sorry.
okay. I am gonna have Noreen do separately and we'll vote separately if that's okay.
Yes.
Okay. Noreen, would you be able to read the first petition, please?
Sure. Petition 00-23-02, 154 Pheasant Run, R12 Zone, Newington, requesting a variance of 6 feet from section 4.5, table A of the zoning regulations to reduce the required 35-foot front yard setback to 29 feet to allow for the addition of a 21 by 8-foot covered front porch. Applicant contact owner David Gimler and Latoya McGregor Gimler.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Would anyone like to make a motion for
Yes.
this? Go ahead, Bill.
I'll make a motion to approve the request.
Okay. Does anyone second?
I'll second it, but with that caveat that I made before, it would have to be a deed restriction that it would never be enclosed.
You can add conditions.
Afterwards.
You should vote on it with the conditions if that's what you
That would
want
be
to
my
do.
condition. I said that from the beginning. I don't know if
Okay.
you agree with that too, but.
That's all right, yeah.
So you'd have to change you're making a motion. You'd have to add that while you're saying you're making a motion to add that as well. If
Okay.
that's what you're, yeah.
Yeah, I forget how he said it, but I'll add that to my motion too.
Would be a deed restriction so that it'd be legally, they couldn't, enclose that.
Okay,
It would have to remain open.
yes, sir. Got it.
If you agree with that, I'm not trying to sway you in any way either. If you think that's too strict, then you don't have to agree with it. So I guess that'd be confusing. Would I be even approving his if I made my own condition, but he didn't agree with it?
He can,
What you'd be asking for is basically a friendly amendment to his motion.
Friendly amendment.
Yeah,
There you
that's a way to term it on that one is, and then, yep, you would have to actually say yes, that you amend your motion to include that condition if you choose to do so. And it would be changing from approval to approval with conditions and stating the condition.
I like the approval.
so I have it as the porch is not to be enclosed in the future. Is that sufficient for you guys?
Yeah.
So
got
can we
that.
do a roll call then? Exactly. So you two were both a yes.
Mhm.
Mike?
I'm gonna say no. I just think that what's allowed covers the issue that they're concerned about, and we're just pushing a hardship based on aesthetics, and I don't think aesthetics is a hardship.
Okay. Sharon?
My vote is no, based on what Mike just said.
Okay. And I am voting no as well, based on what Mike said. So that was denied, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Noreen, would you be able to read the second petition, please?
Sure. Petition 00-23-03, 107 Cambria Avenue, R12 Zone, Newington, requesting a variance of 12 feet from section 4.5, table A of the zoning regulations to reduce the required 35-foot front yard setback to 23 feet to allow for the addition of a 27 by 6-foot covered front porch. Applicant contact owner Devendra Nepal.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone that would like to make a motion? Of course you can. Yeah.
The same parcel, or they got to do a different one?
So this was the second
It's the second
petition.
one, okay.
Yes.
It still shows Pheasant Run up here.
No, the second one is
Oh, right.
03, is
Oh, yeah,
the one
there it is.
below it.
Just on the same, yeah, same slide.
I'd like to vote, make a motion to approve the petition at Cambridge Avenue.
Okay.
That's it.
Do you want the same condition that you put on the last one
Conditions?
of not to enclose the porch? I'm just asking.
Oh.
Oh, that's John's condition.
I was gonna say, that's gonna come next anyway, so it'll be another friendly, how did you put it, friendly?
Yeah, it's basically a
Amendment.
friendly amendment to the motion.
Yeah, we could do that, yeah, not enclose it.
With the friendly amendment from John.
So while you're making the motion, my recommendation would be, yes, just to say, a motion to approve with conditions and then just state that conditions and that's good.
All right. That's done. Done with the conditions.
Okay.
John,
Yes, with the conditions.
with the conditions.
So you're seconding, okay, thank you.
Seconding, yeah.
Mike, or I can go, or Sharon. Sharon?
I'm gonna say no, for the
Okay.
same reason as the previous petition.
Okay. I as well, I'm gonna say no, as well as the same as this previous. Mike?
I don't know. If I had to go by what I thought right now, I'd have to say yes on that one, just based on everything being built around it and the original builder not considering it for the extra, I don't think the extra 2 feet.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's my final answer.
And also, it's denied.
Okay.
Because they need 4, correct?
Correct.
All right. Any old business?
Just to, no, sorry to interrupt. Did you, did the motioner and the second vote as well? I didn't hear it, sorry, if I missed.
The motions don't count as a vote.
As a vote.
You should go ahead and do a verbal vote.
Vote second? Correct.
Even if, again, sorry to interrupt, but even if you do make a motion that, you still vote on that motion
Okay,
afterwards.
even the one who makes the motion or second. Oh, I didn't realize.
I'm a yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I was a yes too. Didn't realize that.
Good
Both
to know.
times.
Okay. So no old business.
No old business.
Anyone want to make a motion to adjourn? John,
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
second. Everyone have a good evening. Thank you, Sharon, for coming on. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks. Good night, everyone.
You as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.